Salute, salute. Salute to God, the Most High, the creator of everything. Salute to all my day ones. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I am so grateful. Continue to run it up, and I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I appreciate each and every single one of you, man. This has been like such an awesome ride, man. I've had my trolls along the way, but nothing I can't handle. Um, this right here is something that I've been keeping a close eye on because I realize that this does not happen every day. This is the first time in my life I've seen two aircrafts collide. So let me get through my intro. One time, check my internet here. I just saw something pop up. All right. And let's get into this, y'all. This is the Benny show. Y'all go subscribe to Benny. Benny be coming with it.
The numbers. Between this crash and the last deadly commercial airline crash in America, there have been 150 million commercial flights in this country. 150 million without incident. So what happened here? You can't tell me that this was not preventable. Someone was at fault. And we think we know what's going on now because the black box from the airplane has been recovered. That black box is going to show exactly where the plane was on geometrics, like how the plane was moving.
Now, they're putting circles around each aircraft. The first circle was the American Airlines commercial jet. The circle you're looking at now is the Black Hawk military helicopter. Okay, I want y'all to see this distance. In my opinion, allegedly, this was no mistake because this helicopter the whole time made a beeline straight towards that plane. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. And to the families, I apologize for constantly playing this. It's not something that I want you to be haunted by reliving and seeing it on the internet. So my apologies. It's not that I'm not showing discernment. I listen, I don't know how to blur this out. Okay, but it's important that we look at this footage right now. So just one more time.
Speed, the altitude, it's going to show like what happened with the collision, like inside of the actual plane itself, what systems were destroyed first, what the pilots were saying, what was the internal communication in the cockpit. It records it all, ladies and gentlemen. One final thing before we get to the findings of the black box, which are very dark and lead us to...
Look how far apart these two aircraft still are. At this point, this military helicopter knows that there is an aircraft approaching or somewhere in the vicinity. Okay, they know. Trust me, they know. I'm not an aviation expert, but this is common sense, ladies and gentlemen. You have traffic control towers, you have radars, you have satellites, you have all type of things to let you know what's going on as far as the air traffic is concerned. Look at the distance still, and they've already closed some of the distance. Look at the distance and tell me that this helicopter did not have time to maneuver. This plane had nowhere else to land. It was doing exactly what it was scheduled to do.
Have to assume the worst at this point. Is this footage here that I've been showing you for the last 60 seconds. This footage taken from the top of a place called the Kennedy Center, which is far away from the collision course, but you can see the full totality of these two aircraft flying at each other. You can note, and you can see, wait right here for the explosion. You can note how long these two aircraft were heading toward each other. Watch. Boom. What you can see here in this specific footage was that the Army helicopter was flying for minutes on end in what seems like a targeted beeline towards that plane.
Just from seeing this, if you agree that this could have been some hostile act, that someone had an agenda, that this could have been done intentionally somehow, and I know that's reaching, I know it's a conspiracy, it's controversial, let me know in the comment section. Let me know. There was no reason why 67 people had to lose their lives looking at this footage, man. Did you see where this helicopter started from? It's a straight beeline. Straight beeline.
There's just no other way to explain it until we get the actual footage from inside of the cockpit of the helicopter. There's no other way to explain it why in the 60-second video, that Army helicopter went straight for the plane for a minute straight until it slammed directly into the side of it. And it's not like you...
And think about how fast this helicopter had to be going to close this distance. Let's think about that. We saw where it started from. The aircraft, the airplane itself, was already descending. Descending. Think about how fast this Black Hawk had to been moving. And there was 3 pilots inside of there. We're going to get to that. Let's go.
Can't see the plane. Even from here, we're miles away from the impact. You can see the commercial airline, and of course, you can see the explosion there. Something horrible happened, and now we have the black box, and we're getting more keys into what exactly occurred here. Black box and jet recorder from DC helicopter and plane wreckage reveal key altitude readings that could explain the crash. Get a load of this. Data recovered from American Airlines plane and Army helicopter crash in DC revealed key discrepancy in their altitude readings that may be an explanation for the actual crash, the left 67 dead. The National Transportation Safety Board revealed that preliminary data from the Black Hawk helicopter and passenger jet show conflicting readings about the altitudes at the time of the catastrophic collision. Data from the passenger jet's flight recorder showed its altitude as 325 feet when the crash happened on Wednesday night. Data from the control tower showed the Black Hawk helicopter at 200 feet at the time.
So this is like trying to say there was a malfunction in some of the devices located on a Black Hawk. Now, the black box from American Airlines jet says that they were flying 325 feet. And for that helicopter to make contact with this American Airlines jet, they had to also been flying at 325 feet, unless it was the American Airlines jet devices that were off. Now, in the control tower, they were reading inside the Black Hawk that the Black Hawk was only 200 feet high in the air. Let's go.
Huh? The 100-foot discrepancy is yet to be explained, but the impact did occur at 325 feet. The crash would have occurred well above the maximum allowed altitude for the 200-foot helicopters in the area. So there now is Donald Trump has totally banned all military helicopters from flying all throughout this major corridor up and down the Potomac. But before then, there were still some pretty severe restrictions as to where the helicopters can go and how they can fly. Commercial airline jets are only in ascent or descent at low altitudes for like seconds, right? These planes fly and they fly fast and they get up and up.
So based on what Benny just said, let's really think of how fast this Black Hawk helicopter had to been going. If these American Airlines passenger jets are only ascending or descending for seconds, let's think about how fast this Black Hawk really had to been traveling. That makes it seem even more intentional, allegedly, to me.
Off the ground to cruising altitude as fast as possible. This is a safety precaution. You've got to get up and out of that airport, especially DCA, which is a very short landing strip, the shortest in the country for a commercial aircraft. Did you know that? Because of its proximity to our national monuments and treasure. And so the helicopters were not allowed to fly above 200 feet off the ground. That's, again, going to make sure that there's as little as possible interference and frictions between them and the aircraft that could take off. So the helicopter is flying twice as high as it's supposed to be flying, according to all available radar. As to the movements of the helicopter itself, the helicopter didn't once try to evade the aircraft and also was flying approximately 1 mile off course. Again, signaling that something horrible went on inside of that aircraft cockpit. I'm not yet here to say, like, I have evidence that the pilots were part of a terrorist organization and they were trying to do this, But all available evidence is leading to a horrible malfunction inside of that helicopter.
There was a video I made concerning this, and it was the one about the DEI. Okay, but this right here definitely confirms that by all means, allegedly, this was no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. This was no mistake. There were three pilots inside of this Black Hawk military aircraft. Two of them was their names were released, their identities were released like a day or two later. It took 4 days for them to release the third pilot, who was also the military aide in Joe Biden's cabinet. Just here recently, just here recently, Rebecca Lobach.
Either through incompetence or malevolence that led to this. And we must have more information to decide whether it's incompetence or malevolence. It's one of the two. Either total and complete stupidity on behalf of the pilots themselves, or somebody really did intend to do this. We'll have to wait and see. Investigators hope to reconcile the altitude differences with data from the helicopter's black box, which is taking more time to retrieve because it became waterlogged and when it plunged in the Potomac River, or the feds are hiding it, I'm not sure. They also said that they plan to refine the tower data, which can be less reliable. So the black box from the actual plane itself has been recovered. That's what you should trust. Screw the tower data. You trust the black boxes inside of the plane. They look like this, right? The flight recorders that have every available piece of information about what's happening to the entire airplane at all times for this exact purpose, right? In case these things happen. He acknowledged that there was dissension with the investigative team about how to release the information or wait until they had more data. Investigators currently do not have the readout from the Black Hawk, so they can't provide the information about the altitude the helicopter is flying. But obviously an impact occurred, and I would say that when an impact occurs, it's typically when the altitude of both aircraft.
Now, that bit of information right there, too, makes me a little concerned. That also makes me think that someone's covering something up if this was intentional. Because how do you locate the black box from the American Airlines jet, who also landed in the Potomac River after the explosion, but you are having trouble in saying that the black box for the Black Hawk military jet has been waterlogged? So the black box for the American Airlines jet would have been waterlogged as well? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this here because I didn't want this to run too long, because I want to get right back into this video and show you the second part, and we're going to get into the pilots. Okay? Bear with me. Y'all, I will drop this link in the description box. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. All right? Get your one-on-one. Get your one-on-one. Get your one-on-one with your higher power, man. There's only one God. There's only one life to live, only one choice to make. There's only one heaven and one way to get there. All right, y'all stay prayed up, stay blessed up, stay meditated up, stay protected, stay real, stay conscious, stay uncut, be inspired, be great, be you. Ashe, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, brothers and sisters. And we're going to get them two salutes to the G-O-D. One time, yes, sir. Ashe.